Hi, welcome to the Home Food Preservation series of the Idaho Victory Garden. In this session, I will cover briefly some of the basics of drying food. So what are the advantages? Why would people dehydrate or dry food? Of course, there's the costs. Having bought, and I'm sure many of you have bought, dried foods, the cost per pound can be quite high. Some individuals dry foods because of nutrition, really trying to extend the season. If you have limited storage space in your home, dried foods can many times take up significantly less space than home canned foods or other forms of food preservation. The longevity, really extending that season out of that food, is another advantage to drying foods. Portability. If any of you are hikers or like to take snacks for your children, having dehydrated food can really help. And oftentimes there's an enjoyment to dehydrating foods and to eating those foods in those changed forms. So the drying process. Both drying and dehydration refer to the removal of water, and rehydration or reconstitution refers to adding that water back to that dried food. Drying or removing the moisture from a food product really is a food safety piece. Microorganisms often require warm temperatures and water to multiply. So although drying and removing that water from the food will keep pathogens from multiplying, drying temperatures are not hot enough to kill those pathogens. So types of drying or methods of drying. Sun drying. You can be successful at sun drying when there are many consecutive days with temperatures in the 90s. If there's low humidity, low air pollution, and the foods that you're drying are high in sugar and in acid. Disadvantages, it can sometimes take several days depending on what food it is that you're going to do. And sometimes the sanitary conditions can be an issue, and many times there is a lower quality and nutritional value. Things that do well at sun drying are apples and apricots, cherries, peaches, pears often do okay with sun drying. Solar drying is when you collect the sun's rays and elevate the temperature 20 to 30 degrees. There's often a shorter drying time. It is still dependent on the weather. You can often have lower quality food, and there is an investment in time and money, or if you construct, even if you construct your own solar dryer in that. Many times food needs to be turned and rotated in that. Room drying. Room drying is simply a natural method and can be effective for some food products such as herbs, nuts in the shell, strings of red chili peppers often can be room dried. But the room must be sufficiently warm and have good air circulation in order to be successful with that. Oven drying. Really, with oven drying, you don't have an initial investment because you already have an oven used for cooking foods. However, an oven can take 2 to 3 times longer than a dehydrator. You must rotate and turn food, and your food is often lower quality, so it's a little more brittle, less flavorful, often darker when using your oven. The microwave. The microwave does quite well with small quantities of herbs. It really is not suitable for drying other foods, and you do want to be careful because your herbs in your microwave, if not watched closely, can actually catch fire. And the last one always makes me smile. You can dehydrate in a hot car. Your car actually acts like a solar drying method in that. You still would have the same disadvantages and advantages as you would with any solar. Be careful though, because depending on what you're drying can cause aromas in your vehicle that you may not want. For example, if you're trying to dehydrate onions. Once you've dried your food, we recommend approximately 6 months for optimal quality in storing your food and for nutritional value. You want to rotate those dried foods just as you would other foods as well. There are great resources available from University of Idaho on drying fruits and vegetables. They're going to talk about how to test for doneness, how long a food might take to dehydrate. They'll also talk a little bit about pre-treatments. So many light-colored fruits you will want to pre-treat for quality. It's not a safety issue, but a quality. And using a dip as an example of a ascorbic acid dip. With many vegetables, when you dehydrate them, we recommend blanching or denaturing that enzyme in that vegetable before you dry them as well. That. And the last thing I want to share with you is there is a step called conditioning. Conditioning helps to distribute the moisture evenly in pieces of dried product. So if you place your food, your dried food, in a large, tightly closed container and stir or shake every day for 2 to 4 days, what happens is if you have one piece that has a little bit more moisture in it, it distributes that moisture evenly throughout those food, and you're less likely to have one piece mold on you, thus ruining your whole batch.